Hello and welcome to Celebwood. Every year a large number of fantasy films are released, sometimes with different genres blended within this year's fantasy. Movies are loaded with multiverses, ancient powers, and a brand new magical realms that we have never seen before. With no major fantasy movies coming out in the next 2 months, let's take a look at the top 5 best fantasy movies of 2022 so far. Now let's start the video. Number 5. The King's Daughter. It is a 2022 action-adventure fantasy film directed by Sean McNamara. The plot revolves around King Louis XIV, who is concerned with his own passing. Anne France's destiny. Louis asks the help of the imperial medic and his religious counselor to find the secret to immortality, as he claims that the mermaid by the name of Fan Bingbing holds the power to eternal life. In order to capture the magical creature and sacrifice it during twilight to absorb its life energy, Louis hires a young ship captain to search the oceans for it and capture it, but when is abandoned daughter Marie forms a fragile connection with the mermaid, it jeopardizes his sinister plans. Now, with a solar eclipse approaching, Louis will uncover where his daughter's true allegiance lies as he rushes towards the clock to collect the mermaid's life-giving power. With a decent but intriguing plot, it is a pleasant and enjoyable fantasy movie that you can watch with your family. It might not be a big budget hit, but fantasy movie fans should check it out, and the movie has a 5.1 rating on IMDb and an 80 audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. Number 4. Brahmastra Part 1. Shiva. It is 2022 fantasy action-adventure film set in modern India, which centers on a group of scholars who live in secrecy and guard the Brahmastra, an enormously powerful weapon with the potential to end the world in order to save the earth from the cosmic forces. The scholars harness their own Astra's powers to control the uncontrollable Brahmastra and form the Brahmanja hidden organization. The main plot follows Shiva, an orphan who has the ability to control fire with his mind, but his calm life is turned upside down when he learns that he is an Astra weapon of great energy. As he tries to figure out who he is pulled into the ancient fight and has to safeguard Brahmastra from falling into the possession of sinister powers, with which he has a history of mind-blowing visuals and great storytelling of mythology, adventure, love, and hope. Remastered is a must-see on this list, and the movie has a 5.6 rating on IMDb and a 69 audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. Number 3. The School for Good and Evil. It is 2022 fantasy drama film based on the novel of the same name. The film centers on Sophie and Agatha, two best friends who live in the village of Gavaldon. While Agatha has the potential to be a great real witch, thanks to her gloomy aesthetic, Sophie is a fan of magical stories and aspires to escape her ordinary village lifestyle. However, one night a strong force transports the off to the School for Good and Evil, where Agatha is placed in the School for Good and Sophie is dropped into the School for Evil. But when a sinister and perilous entity with enigmatic connections to solitary surfaces and attempts to completely destroy the school, Sophie and Agatha must figure out how to preserve the harmony between good and evil. Overall, it's a good movie with an engaging fantasy plot and some impressively surprising twists. It's not Harry Potter, but if you appreciate movies about magical schools, you shouldn't miss this one. And the movie has a 5.9 rating on IMDb and a 69 audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. Number 2. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. It is 2022 superhero fantasy adventure film featuring the Marvel Comics character Doctor Strange. The story follows Doctor Strange as he encounters a teenage girl from one of his dreams who has the power to move across multiverses. To save the girl from an unknown danger, he teams up with her to battle off several enemies, including other universe incarnations of himself who represent a danger to the girl's survival and the universe in general. As Doctor Strange travels through the treacherous and mind-bending realms of the infinite universe, he enlists the assistance of great allies in order to battle a dangerous new enemy. Everyone has their own opinions, but for me, this is the most unique and creative film Marvel has ever made. If you set aside the expectation that there will be many cameos in the film, has the perfect blend of drama, action, and fantasy, making it a lot of fun to watch. And the movie has a 6.9 rating on IMDb and an 85 audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. Number 1. Black Adam. It is a 2022 superhero fantasy action film based on the DC Comics character of the same name. The Story takes place in present-day Conduct, which is enslaved by the Intergang who loots the city's precious resources. The main plot revolves around the archaeologist, Adriana Thomas, who attempts to find a hidden artifact with the help of her brothers, but when an Intergang force attacks them to save herself and her brothers, Adriana performs a spell that wakes the deadly Taith Adam from a deep sleep, whom she thinks to be Contact Defender after receiving the great powers of the ancient gods about 5,000 years prior. Taith was later imprisoned for his crimes, but now after he has been released from his earthly grave, he begins to unleash his own version of justice in the modern world and must fight against Justice Society of America, who came to imprison him again. The explores fewer fantasy elements and leans largely on action, which is fine overall. This is the most baddest superhero movie of the year, with some insane mind-blowing action scenes that will make your heart beat faster. And the movie has a 7.1 rating on IMDb and a 90 audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. That's it for today. Thank you for watching this video, and do subscribe our channel to see more videos related to movies and series suggestions.